Hola, hola, and welcome to the Speaker Movement podcast. I am your host, Steph Wharton, a public speaker and coach for creatives who are looking to enter their speaker era in order to grow their brand and amplify their impact in sustainable ways. I want to talk about unpaid public speaking opportunities because this doesn't get talked about enough, at least not in a good light. It's usually, oh, this is so unfair, like people need to pay their speakers and it's doing a disservice to the industry and all that stuff, which I agree. However, there are instances in which taking an opportunity to speak that is unpaid can actually be a good thing. It can be a good thing for the event and the people that you're supporting with your service of public speaking and your knowledge and your stories. And it can also be really good for your brand as well. But the thing is, here you have to be very intentional with what opportunities you are saying yes to if they're going to be unpaid. There's a lot of different things to consider, and they might be different whether you're me, whether you're you, right? We all have our own different rubric, which will help us make that decision. But for context, one of the things that I do if I'm going to be taking an unpaid gig is I'll be very intentional with that decision. I'll make sure that I have the capacity, whether it's capacity looking at my public speaking schedule, what I have lined up, whether it's looking at my capacity as a business owner and the work that I have to do with my clients, the work behind the scenes, marketing, content creation, all that stuff. And also the capacity that I might have in that moment as a parent, as a human being, as a wife, and trying to figure out, okay, in this season, do I have the capacity to take something unpaid? If the answer is yes, and the opportunity feels extremely aligned as something that you're very excited to do, or it means something to you, right? It's very values aligned. Maybe it's for a nonprofit, or maybe it's for somebody like really dear to you who you know doesn't have the budget currently, but otherwise would be willing to pay you. You get to make that decision. But the reason that I want to talk about unpaid work is because it can actually lead to a lot of really cool opportunities, right? That unpaid opportunity could lead to a paid speaking gig. It could lead to paid sponsorships. It could lead to paying clients. It could lead to brand deals. There's so many opportunities. So if you have the capacity and you're excited about that public speaking opportunity, it could actually end up paying you tenfold down the line. To give you a tangible example, there was this one opportunity that I did a couple years ago, and it was unpaid. Essentially, what I was doing is I was putting a guest training inside of somebody else's program. And we showed up live. I did the session. I believe for the live moment itself, it was just the host that showed up and maybe at most like one or two of their clients. Everybody else was catching the replay, which is fine. I mean, I do love to be able to connect more with people in person, like in that moment. It's not in person, it's virtual, but you know that you catch my drift. But if it's going to be a replay, you know what? I'm still going to show up as if there's 100 people in front of me. I'm still going to deliver the best experience, share all the advice, all the nuance and how things could apply differently for different people, and make sure that it's something truly valuable for those that are going to be tuning in after the fact. Now, that was it. It was just a guest training, did it, done, moved on. Now, the cool thing is that this specific opportunity continued to sit there inside of the coaching program, which means that everybody who was part of that program that month and everybody who joined that program the next month, the next year, and if the person still has a program available, people are still consuming that training. That reach is incredible. There's going to be people consuming your content and learning from you for months and months and years to come. So what ended up happening is down the line, I want to say like a year or so later, there was one of their clients who consumed that lesson, and they really resonated with myself actually as a person, because we were both parents and we both had very limited capacity when it comes to how we can show up for our business, for our visibility, for strategically growing our brand. And they also loved the way that sustainably I was teaching visibility through public speaking. So they just resonated with me and with my expertise. So they're like, sold. I need to learn from you. Like, not only am I going to learn and continue to learn from my current coach, mentor, whatever, but I need to be in your world because this is something that I want to explore more. So they went ahead and did exactly that. They actually ended up joining my free private community and attending all the weekly events that I was hosting that were primarily just co-working and networking, but it's still an opportunity for her to be in my world. And as we got to know each other better, they started consuming my podcast. They were subscribed to my email list. They were on my social media. So they were getting an opportunity to consume content and learn from me in so many different ways, depending on what they were focusing on in that moment, at what capacity they had, and how they were feeling the vibe in terms of how they want to consume content. Some days my clients are doing dishes and listening to me in their ears, right? Like they're listening to the podcast. Other times they are sitting behind the desk and they're watching a full-on masterclass or whatever other free resources I might have. Other times if they're clients, they're going to be in their phones on Telegram, on Circle. They're going to be messaging me and being like, hey, like I need coaching right now. I need your advice. Let's dig in. So I love how, regardless of whether you're a member of my free community or paying programs, there's always different touch points, different ways to learn and different ways to be supported. So now this specific person, this friend, if you will, this peer, this person inside the community was learning from me actively in so many different ways. And there came a time a couple months after they had joined the community where they actually wanted my advice when it came to investing. Specifically, I didn't know this at the time, but they wanted to work with me. And they were just looking for advice on, I guess, either investing in my services, investing in somebody else's services. That's more like what the conversation sounded like. And we hopped on a call, and it turned out that they were a perfect fit for one of my programs. So they ended up investing in private coaching, and they invested in my other mastermind program. And it became this long-term working relationship where we really got to dig into their goals and their vision as to how they wanted to build a brand, how they wanted to be visible, what kind of projects felt really exciting so that they could help people, especially because they were so passionate about a specific topic that wasn't talked about enough, that was kind of taboo and not frowned upon, but it's one of those things that we just keep to ourselves, and we're like, no, like people are going to judge or people aren't going to get it. And it's like, no, we need to bring more awareness, specifically based on her lived experience, right? So it was just such a beautiful mission, and it was just a beautiful working relationship. Now, the reason that this actually worked is not just like building that trust in that relationship organically by staying in touch and being part of the community. It's a lot more with being intentional with how you decide to show up after a public speaking opportunity. One of the things in this instance that I did was really leaning into my strengths. So I was leaning on the fact that I love to facilitate community. So hence anybody who joins that community gets to experience that. And then leaning onto another strength, which was podcasting. I love to share my experience, my knowledge, advice, coaching through the oral word. I love to just talk and be able to really dig a little bit deeper into things as opposed to be capped whenever I'm writing a caption or even a blog post. Sometimes it feels too forced. So for me to just let it out and talk verbally is such a great way for me to communicate and to help people. So now this person in particular was experiencing those two strengths in tandem. They were a part of the community. They got to make other friends feel like they were part of something and supported, even if I wasn't actually coaching. Still, that sense of community and belonging was something that they really appreciated. And then the podcast front, they got to really get to know me from like an expert's point of view. So then through that, not only did we get to deepen relationships, we get to know each other better, but there was a big essence or feeling of building trust as they got to know me and learn from me. So I think just being able to partner those two things up, it's not always just be an authority, be a leader, like be the smartest person in the room. No, there's obviously a certain essence you want to bring to the table as like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Like I can actually help you. That's very important. But for folks who truly trust you, it's not just the work that you do, it's that like real connection, resonance, the sense of shared values. Because otherwise they could go to any other expert who knows their shit just as much as you do. And there's probably going to be a lot of those people that know your industry inside and out as well. So it's pairing the knowledge, the expertise, and the friendship, the relationship building. You don't have to be besties, but there's got to be a level of connection, level of trust in order to lead your business in this way, in a very creative, fun, and community first kind of way. And lastly, I think the cherry on top is what I was talking about earlier, is the shared values, shared experiences, how we were both parents, both craved that kind of sustainable way of showing up and connecting with people and serving our community and our clients that isn't going to take away from us spending real quality time with our kids, with our partner, or even just with friends if we want to go out and have a good time. So being able to share all that, the lived experience, the values, and then be somebody who they trust as a person and as an expert really helps seal the deal, for lack of a better word, and make sales from an unpaid public speaking opportunity. So yeah, if you have the capacity, if something feels really friggin' good, go ahead and say yes. You don't have to always take unpaid. I still recommend you get paid for your services, but sometimes there's going to be something really freaking incredible that comes out of it. It could just be making a new friend. It could just be the experience itself, or it could be growing your business in amazing and very sustainable ways through public speaking.